The Haunting of Halo, a hide-and-seek encounter. Tim had recently built a new PC, one that was modest in power, but sufficient for running games like TF2. He was eager to revisit some nostalgic moments by playing Halo, Combat Evolved, a game he enjoyed with friends years ago. However, he encountered a series of issues: compatibility problems with Windows 7 and the loss of his original CD key, which was tied to a long-gone PC. Frustrated by the wasted time, he switched to another game, but remained determined to relive his Halo memories. In his search for a workaround, he found a keygen that allowed him to install the game. Once he was in, he created a multiplayer game and chose a capture the flag match on Blood Gulch. When the game began to load, he decided to attempt a known glitch on the map, something he had never successfully achieved before. After several attempts, he managed to get into a hidden area with a strategic vantage point. However, his victory was short-lived. His Spartan character began dying repeatedly, without apparent cause, and the error messages became increasingly bizarre, featuring random word combinations. As he investigated the issue, the screen went blank, followed by a horrifying screeching noise. When the game resumed, a player named Juliet joined his server. Tim was unnerved and suspected that Juliet might be responsible for the disturbances. He explored the map and found disturbing messages like "Find me" written on the walls. Juliet then sent a message in the chat, "Let's play hide and seek." After a series of unsettling events, including his character's death and strange sounds, he decided to shut down the server. Determined to understand what was happening, Tim set up another game, this time on a LAN server, hoping to rule out internet-related issues. He waited for 10 minutes, calling out for Juliet. To his surprise, she joined the LAN game. Confused and anxious, Tim questioned the reality of the situation. Juliet invited him to play, and the game froze as an unsettling noise looped in the background. When he found Juliet hiding in a corner, she acknowledged his discovery, but cryptically advised him to find a place to hide. She then left the server, leaving Tim alone and bewildered. Despite his efforts to get her back, she did not return. The game of hide and seek had concluded, leaving him with more questions than answers. The eerie replay that haunts a League of Legends player. Jade had been playing League of Legends when his client crashed midway through a match. Exhausted, he decided to log off and get some rest. Upon re-logging the next day, he was surprised to find he had received an honorable opponent honor for the game, which struck him as odd since he couldn't remember much about it. His match history didn't list the game, but he still had a recording from LoL Replay. He re-watched the replay and immediately noticed something was off. The enemy jungler, another Nocturne player, had no name in the loading screen and remained stationary in his base throughout the game. The replay revealed strange occurrences after Jade's client had crashed. His character appeared to continue playing after the crash, securing a kill and proceeding normally. The replay then showed the enemy Nocturne reconnecting and starting to jungle, although the Soraka he had killed earlier never respawned, nor did any other player who died. Each player's death was permanent, creating an unsettling atmosphere. Jade's character continued to play in a way that mirrored his actions, intensifying his anxiety. As the match neared its end, only Jade's character, the no-name Nocturne, and an enemy Diana remained. Watching his character pursue and kill Diana was particularly disturbing. After Diana's death, the game froze entirely, leaving only the no-name jungler moving. Jade checked the chat box in the replay and saw unsettling messages from the no-name Nocturne, repeatedly typing, "Kill them all, kill them all," followed by a chilling, "Thank you for your assistance." The game ended abruptly, without the destruction of the Nexus or a surrender vote. Terrified, Jade looked up the names of all players in that game, only to find that none had played again since. He continues to check periodically, hoping for some sign of them. The eerie memory of the honorable opponent honor and the disturbing replay still haunts him, leading him to delete the recording and avoid thinking about it. The night Jason's game was interrupted. In the middle of a quiet suburban neighborhood, Jason was deeply engrossed in an intense online gaming session with his friend, Alex. It was an ordinary evening, with nothing out of the ordinary expected. The house was dimly lit, the only illumination coming from the glow of his computer screen. Jason's concentration was unbreakable until an unexpected sound pierced through the gaming buzz, a series of sharp, rhythmic knocks on his bedroom window. Startled, Jason paused the game and shifted his gaze to the window. He squinted through the dark glass and caught a fleeting glimpse of a shadowy figure darting away from his house. His heart raced as he realized the intruder's intent. Jason quickly grabbed his phone and dialed 911, reporting the suspicious activity and the strange figure he had seen. Within minutes, the police arrived, their flashing lights cutting through the night. The officers conducted a thorough search of the area, but the intruder had vanished without a trace. Jason's anxiety grew as he led the officers into his room, where they discovered the extent of the break-in. The window, now shattered, hung precariously on its hinges. The room was in disarray, drawers were pulled open, and personal items were scattered across the floor. Among the missing belongings were a valuable watch, a few pieces of jewelry, and some electronic gadgets. Despite the police's efforts, no immediate leads emerged. The break-in was a stark reminder of the unpredictability of life. As Jason sat among the remnants of his disrupted evening, he couldn't shake the unsettling feeling that the intruder might return. The once tranquil night had turned into a haunting memory, leaving Jason and his home forever changed. Bonus story: Peter's harrowing live stream encounter. Peter was having a regular night of live streaming his favorite video game. He was focused on the game and chatting with his online viewers when he started receiving strange, threatening messages. The messages were unsettling. The anonymous sender knew Peter's real name and his address. Although the threats made Peter anxious, he tried to keep his composure and continued with his stream. Later that evening, while Peter was fully absorbed in his game, he heard a loud knock on his front door. His heart raced as he glanced at the door. He peered through the window and saw a shadowy figure standing outside. Just then, Peter received another message from the same anonymous user. The message read, "I'm outside." This chilling confirmation made Peter's fear even more intense. Even though he was terrified, Peter decided not to open the door. He was unsure of the intruder's intentions and felt safer staying inside. Instead, he typed a message into his live chat, asking the intruder what he wanted. The answer came through almost immediately. The man simply said, "I don't like your car." After receiving the message, the figure outside eventually left, vanishing into the night. Peter stayed on edge, his mind racing with worry. The next morning, he went outside to check his car and discovered that the side mirror had been smashed. The damage was clear and unmistakable. The vandalism was a direct consequence of the threats he had received. Peter was shaken by the incident and decided to report it to the police. Despite their investigation, they couldn't identify the person responsible for the damage. The whole experience left Peter feeling uneasy and fearful. The once enjoyable activity of gaming was now overshadowed by the anxiety of being targeted. The threats and vandalism had turned Peter's safe space into a source of dread.